So now you might be wondering, is ChatGPT for me? Let me give you an example. So I'm a senior software engineer and I'm working the keyboard every day to make customers happy and basically love their products that we are creating for them. And what you don't know is that I'm actually using ChatGPT a lot in my work to work day environment. Not that many people know that you can use ChatGPT to use these capabilities that I'm using here, because it's a lot about spoon feeding and asking, and don't get mad that it doesn't give you the answer that you want. You just need to try again, and basically the same thing that you will talk to a regular human, you would just try to communicate in a different way. As you can see here, I'm just starting off with a joke that I don't think she will know or remember what we talked about earlier, because you don't store the information of the conversation if you don't have it open yet. So as a software engineer, you have to read a lot of documentation in order to understand the system, and usually it will be reading all of this information I'm about to integrate into our system in an external integration. The thing though is that this is a lot of things to read, and to understand the context, wouldn't it be nice to just get the help of the ChatGPT to help us accomplish our goal when we are working daily as a software engineer? So let's take a look at how we can do that. So here you can see how I'm using ChatGPT to accomplish things in my work to work day. And right now I'm on a developer website or a developer portal. I'm reading some documentation, and usually here you would think, okay, so now I need to read through the whole documentation in order to learn everything. That's the great thing about ChatGPT, that I have seen that you can use it to. So as you can see, I say I will send you a link to the documentation. I copy the link. Before I pasted everything in, but you can actually just copy the link, and I tell her to say, is it any things I need to think about when integrating this into our system that I need to be aware of as a developer? So as you can see, thanks for sharing the documentation. I'll be happy to provide you with some general advice on integrating a payment service into our system. When integrating a payment service, it's essential to ensure that your system meets the necessary security and compliance requirements. And we are, after all, talking about payment systems, so she is right. You should also test your integration thoroughly before deploying it to production. And as you can see, she noticed that it's about Swedbank Pay documentation. She knows what it says in the documentation, and she can actually understand the context, which is quite powerful. So yeah, as you see, I will develop this using Business Central. I'm telling what I'm using. I need to say that so she can gather information about that specific subject. I'm saying I will create a test page to get started. Then she knows I'm talking about a page in Business Central. And I also will tell her the code I've already come up with, so I can now make the context of the API documentation be connected to the code that I'm writing. And this will blow your mind. Pasting in the code from the Business Central extension, and as you can see, she's saying great start on creating the test page for integration. Just a few things to consider, and then she goes through the code. She gives me general practice on what she sees, not just from the internet in a general way, but actually from the context of the code that I'm submitting to her. Now I'm going to show you something cool that I don't think you even know that ChatGPT can do. So here you can see the photo that I will send to ChatGPT. Pretty cool, right? So now I want to show you how you can use it in a different way. In just of going to the website, I've discovered that if you go to App Store here and you search for ChatGPT, you will be able to see that you have ChatGPT plus Power, AI writing assistant. These are not what we want, but you can get it also from the internet. But this one I'm using, it has a free and a paid version, but I use it because I'm able to go to ChatGPT here instead. And this is cool because I can go to settings here, and I can say window options, and I can basically say that I want it to be pinned. So instead of being disappeared when I do this, I can basically pin it like this. And then whenever I'm working like this, I can basically say that I want to have the window options just a little bit differently, like this. I can go to window size, make it like an iPhone 11, so it'll be here instead, which is quite nice because now I could have two windows here and I can have the chat here as well. So it's not going to disappear, as you can see. So remember where we were. I sent the link to the documentation, and then after that I actually give some information about the picture. You see this pasteboard link here? I say, based on the information he has provided, where he suggests me to create the code, and the code unit setup I already sent up here. So as you can see, I can say this is the setup I'm thinking. So I actually gave the link here. So take a look at the photo I sent you. It should contain the code units I'm thinking of having in my Business Central extension. What do you think? And then it says, it looks like you're off to a good start with your Business Central extension. Here are a few things to consider. So you can see that she can actually gather the text from the picture. She can read the information from the picture I sent through a link. And she can give me good practices on what it says. So it says, looks like you have a solid foundation. Just make sure to test your code truly. And she also talks about code separation. So down here you can see I'm asking, which API call should I use to generate a token? Usually you would have to go to the website just like this. Go to the website, read the website, trying to understand the documentation. Of course, you should also do this. You shouldn't just trust the AI. But I would just search for something like token. Okay, so there are a lot of things, generate token. And as you can see, it's quite cumbersome to do all this and then trying to read, okay, it should be here, it says generating token. But what you notice, she is able to get the information and she says, PSP credit card payments, this is the one you should use. And she gives me a high-level overview of the process with the correct path and the correct things that you should use to get the token. Now I say I have a developer who needs something done. And based on that information, she can also understand the criteria that he wants me to accomplish. So I'm sending some code now from what I'm thinking of. And I'm basically pasting in all the code that I have here in my Business Central extension. Some of this code here is what I sent, this connector code here. And based on this, she can say, it's great that you're breaking up the integration code into separate functions. She noticed that. Can help your code more modular and easier to maintain. And I'm now saying that I need to correct her a bit because she's saying something which are not correctly true because it's Business Central and she doesn't know that much information about it, but still it's valuable. So now I'm asking her to help me write an email of the information that I have in some stuff. I'm not showing you the content because it's private, but based on the email, she can actually give me information about what it would be. So do you now see how ChatGPT can help you accomplish a lot of things, not just related to coding questions, but also related to API applications development, and also how we can formulate an email from a technical perspective using the context of an API documentation. Pretty cool, right?